Beautiful day here in Phoenix, Arizona, October 6th, 2014. The CDC Director, Dr. Frieden, states that restricting travel to the U.S. from West Africa will make it more difficult to get aid and help into those afflicted countries. That's just not logical, as healthcare workers are easily identified as being allowed to leave when appropriate. No one's suggesting that the flights into these countries should be restricted or humanitarian help in any way curtailed. Factually, it needs to be ramped up without delay. Indeed, it is imperative that we fast track into these countries. It needs to happen now to fight the epidemic in every way possible. The index case in Dallas, Mr. Thomas Duncan, is proof that screening outgoing travelers is ineffective at best, and reliance on self-identifying exposure and contact is honestly reported in a place where thousands have died and hundreds of dead lay in the streets. That's ridiculously naive. Most recently, the top administration officials repeatedly state that we are prepared to contain Ebola should it happen. Every Ebola outbreak in the last 40 years has been stopped. This disease is not spread by casual contact. Our healthcare infrastructure makes it extraordinarily unlikely that we will be having an outbreak. At every turn, they're more concerned about stopping Ebola in Africa and slowing down the pandemic where it started. They say we can't prevent Ebola here if we don't immediately respond in Africa. How about strictly enforcing a ban on non-essential travel to the U.S.? Other countries are doing this, including our own allies and almost all of Africa outside the hot zone. It doesn't bode well for Americans when our elected government turns a deaf ear to our need for safety and security. Please impose the travel bans now. Per Dr. Eileen Marty of the Florida International University, professor of infectious disease, vigilance must be maintained at all points of entry into the U.S. and all non-hot zones. She continues that, noting that unlike all previous epidemics, this one in 2014 is an urban rather than an isolated rural setting and will be much harder to stop. The American public is fearful now, and we are no longer drinking the Kool-Aid. We must not wait. Contact your elected officials today and stress that travel bans be put in place ASAP.